The email was sent. The meeting ended. The project was submitted. The conversation is over. Nothing else is required, yet part of your brain keeps returning to it anyway. You reread the email. You replay the conversation. You mentally review the meeting hours later. Not because anything went wrong, because something still feels open. And if you're an overloaded professional, you've probably experienced this hundreds of times. The strange feeling of finishing something without feeling finished. Most people assume this happens because they're overthinking, but that's usually not what it feels like. What it feels like is responsibility. Responsibility continuing after the task itself has ended. Part of your brain keeps checking, keeps reviewing, keeps revisiting. Not because it enjoys doing that, because it's still looking for what might have been missed. And that's where this gets interesting, because for many overloaded professionals, the work ends long before the nervous system accepts that it ended. Think about how much of your day depends on preventing problems, catching mistakes, avoiding consequences, staying ahead, making sure things don't fall through the cracks. Over time, the brain adapts to that responsibility. It learns something simple. Check again. Look one more time. Make sure. Verify. And eventually, that habit survives the task itself. The email gets sent. The meeting concludes. The project leaves your hands. Yet part of the brain remains engaged, still searching, still reviewing, still trying to protect you from a problem that may never exist. Which is why completion and closure are not always the same thing. Completion is external. The task is finished. Closure is internal. The nervous system accepts that it's finished. And those two things don't always happen at the same time. For a lot of overloaded professionals, completion happens first. Closure never fully arrives. The cost isn't necessarily more work. The cost is something quieter. You never fully receive the psychological benefit of finishing. The task ends. The responsibility doesn't. If this resonates, please subscribe. This is the type of information we discuss here each week. Part of your attention stays attached to something that no longer needs your attention, which is why you can spend an entire evening mentally carrying something that ended hours ago. Not because you're bad at letting things go, not because you're doing something wrong. Maybe part of your brain simply never received the signal that it was finished. Maybe the work ended, but the nervous system stayed engaged. Maybe you're not bad at letting things go. Maybe part of your brain never learned how to recognize done. If this feels familiar, you're not the only one experiencing it, and you're definitely not the only one carrying it. This is Heavy Days, clarity for overloaded professionals.